lover. I'm a biggest fan of the cricket, but I can't help it here.
Sir, thank you so much, Mr. Chambakshi, for joining us. Appreciate you joining in. We have B. Srinivasan also from Hyderabad who's calling us. Thanks, sir. Please go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I just want to give it a different angle. I have a lot of faith in the investigative reporting of Republic. Can't Republic find out what is the vested interest of BCCI in this whole thing, in getting this even approved by government? There must be somebody in BCCI who is very keenly interested. And cricket, in any case, is a sport. It's a matter of celebration. How can you celebrate with the enemy? That's what I can't understand. So, these are the only 2 points I want to make. First, that we cannot celebrate with a country which keeps attacking us every day, even today.
Yes.
Every day in Kashmir, people are facing terrorists. And you go and celebrate with them. It's a matter for celebration. How can you celebrate with an enemy?
Yes.
I don't understand. So that's one point. Second point is, can Republic investigative reporting unravel the mystery of why BCCI is after it right from the beginning?
Okay,
What is the pressure on them? And how are they able to convince the government? Mr. Modi is not a person who will forgive Pakistan so easily.
Right. Right,
so please,
sir.
These are the 2 points.
The argument remains that it's a multinational tournament, and that's the only exception they've made. They do not engage with Pakistan bilaterally. That's the only, and it's a templated reply, of course. What we understand, it has been given from the BCCI for the longest time. But I appreciate you, Mr. Srinivasan, joining us and raising up those points on Republic TV. Before we go to Saurabh again, viewers, we have more breaking news coming in. I am told that, in fact, we have some update coming in on SpiceJet. Okay, there is some update coming in from Mumbai airport. Now, all departures have been put on hold in Mumbai airport, at the Mumbai airport. As per AOCC, full emergency has been declared on SpiceJet flight SG2906, Kandla to Mumbai. Okay, we're getting in some report information, viewers. I'll just try and get you. All the departures at the Mumbai airport are on hold till 5 p.m. This full emergency that has been declared at the Mumbai airport. We do not know the reason behind this. I will try and get you more updates from our reporters. But this is the breaking news we have right now. All departures on Mumbai airport have been put on hold. And Harsha joins us live on the broadcast. Harsha, tell us more details about this, please.
Yes, Prakshita, now the latest information which we are learning is directly from the AOCC. Just now we have received an information that there was full emergency which was declared at Mumbai airport, and it was because SpiceJet aircraft was at runway, and immediately it was found that there were one wheel of the SpiceJet aircraft was missing. We are waiting for the more information which the AOCC, the Control Command Center at the airport, would have gotten, and the DGCA would also have gotten from SpiceJet. But there's a preliminary information which is coming. It was SpiceJet aircraft for Kandla to Mumbai at around 3:45. But right now we have got to know all the aircrafts of the other airlines as well, which were scheduled to depart at around between 3:30 to 4:30. None of the aircraft are departing right now. Everything has been put on hold. There's a complete emergency at Mumbai airport. Each and every aircraft has been asked to take their particular aircraft at the tarmac, and no aircraft or any airline should be at the runway. It should be either parked or towards the tarmac. It is because of the SpiceJet one wheel missing from the SpiceJet flight. It could cause any of the any emergency could lead because of this particular problem. The prelim information is this only, which I have just now received from the AOCC at Mumbai. We are waiting for more information on this. I'm trying to gather more information from MOCA and from the Civil Aviation Ministry as well. But for now, we have got to know all other aircrafts of Air India, Indigo, and others as well, which were scheduled to depart. None of the aircraft has departed right now. Earlier, it was told that between 3:30 till 4:30 there will be no departures, but now the time has been extended till 5 p.m. Surely all the authorities are right now at the airport. They are right now at the runway where this particular SpiceJet aircraft, which was at runway, whose wheel is missing, it has to be taken back to the parking bay until and unless it's not taken to a safer location. Till that time, no other aircraft will depart. Back to you.
Right, Harsha. Just stay on with us. Republic TV continues to update our viewers of the developing situation. It's unfolding right now as we speak. Full emergency has been declared at the Mumbai airport, and this, of course, is an alarming situation. We try and get you updates. There was a wheel missing call on SpiceJet flight, viewers. This is really a threat to security as well and safety of the passengers of any flight, of course. So there was a call that was made. A wheel was missing apparently on a SpiceJet flight that was landing at the Mumbai airport. But then an emergency is declared, so you can understand that it's a very, very serious situation there at the Mumbai International Airport. And we'll try and understand as to what really has happened in Mumbai. But all the flights, all the departures have been put on hold for till at least 5 p.m. for now. So this is, of course, alarming, and we will tell you more updates as we gather more information from ground. A full emergency declared, and SpiceJet aircraft had reported a wheel missing. So this is again a very, very alarming situation there. We will keep a close eye on the developments from Mumbai, viewers. But this is first from Republic TV. Republic TV getting you this big update, a big alert from Mumbai. All departures are on hold till 5 p.m. in Mumbai. And Harsha will be back with us. We'll try and gather more updates, viewers. All departures from the international airport has been from the Mumbai airport have been put on hold. And this is due to an emergency that was declared. A full emergency has been declared at the Mumbai airport after a wheel went missing on a SpiceJet flight. It was supposed to, what I understand is that it was landing at the Mumbai airport, but all the departures have been put on hold right now until at least 5 p.m. And that's the breaking news we have right now. We'll try and get you more details. Republic TV first to get you that big breaking news from Mumbai. Reason, of course, for the full emergency not known. Could be possibly, but it is because of the wheel missing, or there might be some other issues also reported. We do not know, as emergency is declared, and we will be waiting for an official word. There is no official word till now. There is no official piece of information that we have. But yes, this is the update from ground that there's a full emergency that has been declared at the Mumbai airport. This is the big breaking we are tracking from Mumbai airport, viewers, and try and get you more updates. No departures from Mumbai airport before 5 p.m. That's the update we have, at least for now. No departure, no flights to depart from the Mumbai airport till at least 5 p.m. And we will get you more updates from my colleague Harsha, who is closely tracking all the latest from aviation sector, and she's been getting us each and every update from all the flight operations from across the country. Any updates that are happening, and there has been a turmoil, much of turbulence in our aviation sector already, viewers, especially after what happened in Gujarat, and now we see that a full emergency has been declared. Full emergency declared at Mumbai airport. Reasons, the exact reason not known, but a wheel was missing. There was a call made, a wheel missing call was made on a SpiceJet flight. But all departures are now suddenly put on hold till 5 p.m. after an emergency is declared at the Mumbai airport. So we will gather more updates as to what's really behind this. This is an alarming situation that we understand from Mumbai. And we will understand. We'll try and viewers get you more understanding of this this update, viewers. Okay, I'm getting more updates about the wheel missing. Now, the wheels of the aircraft, the SpiceJet flight, the aircraft wheel was missing before landing, and the front wheel was missing. And of course, the wheel is very much important when there is a landing that is made. And there was an emergency call that was made, and an emergency is declared. We do not know what really happened to this flight. We understand more about that too. But the front wheel, imagine, was missing. How? We do not know. This is a SpiceJet Q400. Q400 aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai. It was found at the runway after takeoff. An outer wheel of a spice jet. It's an outer wheel on the front. A spice jet Q400, Q400 aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai was found at the runway after takeoff. So the flight had taken off. The aircraft continued its journey to Mumbai, landed safely, but following a smooth landing, the aircraft taxied to the terminal under its own power. All passengers disembarked normally. This is an official statement from SpiceJet. SpiceJet spokesperson is giving us this information that nothing really happened, but an outer wheel was missing. So the front wheel was missing. Outer wheel of a SpiceJet aircraft, Kandla to Mumbai, was found at the runway after takeoff. We'll just connect with our experts, viewers, to understand what really could have happened or has happened. Group Captain GP Vajpayee, aviation expert, joins us. Sir, I appreciate you joining us. Now, this is a strange situation, sir. Full emergency has been declared at the Mumbai airport after a wheel went missing on a SpiceJet aircraft. SpiceJet says the flight has landed safely, but what we are being told is that one of the outer wheel has been found at the runway after takeoff. And then it landed safely also.
It is very, very astonishing that such an incident has taken place. As you are telling, first of all, to make any comment on this type of unusual, unheard of, and totally unexpected incident, we look for the details, what has happened. What you have reported, it is volume about the quality control and maintenance ethics being followed in the SpiceJet. This is extremely bad, and anything could have happened. In case on takeoff roll, a outer wheel of main landing gear has come out of the landing gear assembly, then it seems that it was not installed or some maintenance work must have been performed on that landing gear. While during installation of the landing gear, they have not followed the laid down procedure after after aligning the wheel. It is to go in a particular groove, and after that, a locket is to be tightened, and it is to be as per the.
Okay, I think we have lost the connection. We'll try and update, but viewers, we understand that this is something really, really strange. Harsha continues to track more development. Harsha, what really happened? Because the SpiceJet spokesperson says that the front wheel, outer wheel is missing, but it landed safely. Then how did it land? How was it a smooth, smooth landing? But then an emergency is also declared. Can you just help us understand what really transpired?
So Rakshita, one-on-one, I'll help you understand for all our viewers as well what exactly happened. So this Kandla to Mumbai SpiceJet flight was coming from Kandla. It was supposed to land at Mumbai airport at 3:45. What exactly happened was, before landing only, the pilot realized that the front wheel of the aircraft is missing. It might have fallen before landing. It was just 150 knots above the ground, and at that time only the front wheel was not there. Immediately the AOCC was informed by the pilot in command that there's no front wheel, and how the landing will now happen. Imagine, this is Q400 aircraft of SpiceJet, which has so many passengers. It was alarming situation. Each and every passenger was very stressed because it was communicated to the passengers as well, and therefore it was making ground in the aircraft. It was not landing because AOCC was informed about this, and immediately what happened at that time, the fuel was dumped. It is very important for the aircraft for not have that much of weight, because what happened in the time of AI 171 crash was the similar case, because the aircraft had full fuel in the aircraft, and that was the reason the crash immediately happened. But in this case, they had to dump the fuel before landing on the runway, and it only happened, the fuel was dumped, and after that the SpiceJet, this particular aircraft, it landed on the back wheel, not the front wheel. What we have got to know, and it could be understood from the statement of SpiceJet as well. But before it landed, so that there should be no alarming situation, no accident occurs or the bad incident to happen, and that is the reason why immediately all departures were cancelled immediately. All departures were asked to hold, whether it was Indigo, whether it was Air India. Each and every aircraft which was supposed to fly in that particular time period between 3:30 to 4:30 was asked to hold hold their departures. All these airlines were asked to hold their departures. The runway was completely blocked. The takeoff runway and the flyway runway, both the runway was completely blocked. SpiceJet flight landed safely. Now it has landed safely. It is being taxied to the parking bay, but before that, the passengers will be immediately disembarked. The disembark process has already taken place. What we have got to know information from the SpiceJet statement, and also we have got to know that the passengers are all safe and sound. Nothing has happened to the passengers, but this is a very alarming situation, and how this lagoon could have caused this entire explanation, the SpiceJet Airlines and officials will have to give to DGCA and to MOCA as well, because this is a serious concern as far as the passenger safety is concerned. And also, if there was some technical issue with the wheel of the aircraft, then why did maintenance agency didn't inform the authorities when it actually the aircraft took off from the Kandla airport, and when it was supposed to land at Mumbai airport, this entire incident transpired, which led to such landing at the runway. We have got to know the runway is being cleared now for other airlines to depart from Mumbai airport. In another 15 to 20 minutes after, we will see departures of the other airlines happening from Mumbai airport, but there was complete emergency. There was too much chaos. The authorities were afraid, and that was the reason why the security forces, the officials of the airport, all rushed to the runway at the time of the landing of the SpiceJet aircraft, this particular aircraft. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for joining us with those details coming in. Viewers, the big breaking we have right now, and it's a very, very alarming situation as to raising many questions once again, viewers, as to the maintenance and the situation, viewers, that's in our on air. I mean, on flights, because this is a SpiceJet and one of the busiest airlines we've seen. SpiceJet outer wheel was found at the runway, which is something that could jeopardize the security, the safety. Once again, viewers, that's the breaking news we have right now. And we'll try and connect with more experts to help us understand how dangerous could this be, because right now there's a SpiceJet spokesperson says that all landed safely, but there's an emergency declared right now, and there are no departures. No departures are happening till 5 p.m. at least from the Mumbai airport. Remember, another very, very busy airport and a very, very important airport for flights, for all the commercial flights from this country, from domestic and international travel. And now what we know is that the outer wheel of this SpiceJet aircraft was missing. It was found on the runway, and mid-air, the pilot realizes that the front wheel was missing. That is, of course, another very, very strange, strange situation that we are learning of. We will try and get you more understanding of this, how serious this is. If we connect with our experts, if we connect with aviation experts as to what could have really happened, because the outer wheel was found missing. SpiceJet has also issued a statement with regards to this fuel dumped, right? Fuel has been fuel dumped before landing. Plane lands using back wheel, the rear wheels. The wheels on the rear have been used for landing. Now, this is something that we've not really, this is something that we, at least I've not heard of. And how dangerous this could have been, you can understand that an emergency was declared. Now, the emergency was declared to inspect all other aircraft. We do not know yet. But this is Kandla to Mumbai flight. It landed safely at the Mumbai airport, we are told. But this was something that we haven't heard of, that the wheel is found missing mid-air. And then it lands using the rear. It lands on the rear wheels of this aircraft. This is the breaking news we have right now, viewers. All departures from Mumbai airport have been now suspended till 5 p.m. My colleague Shravan Sen is joining us from the studio. Shravan, this is of course a big update that we're getting in, and it's a really, really alarming situation that we're picking up.
Well, in fact, a statement has now been put out by the airline, which essentially glosses over the fact that it had basically taken off without a particular wheel. In fact, it had landed on the back wheel is what we are given to understand. Now, just to ensure that the carriage weight would have reduced, they've essentially gone ahead with dumping of the fuel, that was mid-air dumping of fuel is what we are being told by our sources right now from the Mumbai airport. In fact, it has now been taken to the Bay Area. The aircraft has been taken to the Bay Area where a full-fledged investigation is essentially being done. Now, the reason why the departures have essentially been affected is because, remember, there's a missing wheel is what we were initially told. So far, there is no clarity really coming in from the airline with regards to the wheels that have gone, that are not there. In fact, we are getting in more details right now in terms of the investigation that is basically underway. Passengers are still at the airport. 80 passengers were present. In fact, this is a Bombardier aircraft that has been used by SpiceJet. It's a small aircraft, a Q400, which is also known as the Bombardier aircraft, which is largely used by SpiceJet. In fact, we are given to understand that the flight had taken off this afternoon. It was roughly about a little over a 45-minute. It's a 45-minute flight that had taken off from Kandla and was expected to land in Mumbai. And it was found at the runway after takeoff that one of the wheels, an outer wheel of the SpiceJet Q400 aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai, was found at the runway after the takeoff. So it turns out, from the investigation that has been carried out so far, that the wheel was found at the Kandla airport itself. And despite that, the flight had basically taken off. They continued its journey to Mumbai. It had landed safely, and following a smooth landing, the aircraft taxied to the terminal under its own power, and all passengers disembarked normally. Now, that is what the airline has to state. Importantly, we'll try and find out why exactly did the aircraft still take off when one of their wheels had essentially been let off. This was at the Kandla airport, and in fact, whether at all they acted on it, was the captain of the flight informed about the fact that there was a missing wheel to begin with, and how did essentially they manage to really carry on with the flight operation. We'll try and go across to our experts who are joining us on this broadcast. Captain Kabir Malik is joining us. Captain Kabir Malik, everyone would be completely surprised. A flight basically takes off from Kandla. It turns out that the wheel was let off and it landed in Mumbai on the back wheel. It is extremely dangerous. Give us a sense of how could that really be possible?
The thing is possible if the wheel is from the rear undercarriage. If the front was in the front, that it was not possible. I don't think so. So it is some technical must be fault with this landing gear, and we have to be look out the whole story. At what time it did happen? At the landing time it should happen, or it's after the landing when it after the touchdown. I mean to say it did happen.
Captain Malik, you're saying that it is actually possible that without a wheel, you've had the aircraft actually operating. And I just want to focus on the message that has been put out by the airline. The airline clearly states that it has actually happened. The flight has actually taken off without a wheel.
No, it was mistake of pilot. Must be some caution light had been open, shown in the cockpit at the time of the takeoff. It is found in the takeoff time on the, outside of the runway. Then it will be a big mistake done by the pilot.
You're saying that it's a mistake by the pilot in terms of the protocol. What action should be taken? Because here I believe that the DGCA has been roped in. I believe a report is likely to be submitted in the next few hours. But once again, can the airline be actually let off without being penalized for actually putting the lives of 80 passengers on the risk?
It was definitely a question of safety of passengers, and we have to be see in what situation it is happened actually, and why the pilot it had been ignored by him, and definitely action should be taken by DGCA regarding this airline, including the who's in the command of this time in the cockpit.
Captain Malik, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Let me go across to my colleague Harsha, the reporter who's got us the first breaking news coming in only on Republic TV, where we've got full details of the fact that there was a full emergency that was declared at the Mumbai airport. This after the aircraft, which is a Bombardier aircraft of the SpiceJet, had landed in Mumbai, landed on its back wheel when it turns out that the flight had taken off from Kandla, that too with a missing wheel. Harsha, what more details have you been able to pick up? Some are already indicating that this is a pilot error, that the pilot took off. The pilot may have been informed much later from the ATC that a wheel is actually missing, and thereafter full protocol being put into place in Mumbai. Any further details are you picking up in terms of how could this be even possible, that you have an aircraft taking off without a wheel, then landing on its back wheel and manages to keep the passengers safe?
Shivan, what my sources are clearly indicated that it is not a pilot error. When the plane took off, this Q400 SpiceJet aircraft, 78-seater with almost 80 passengers seated in the aircraft, when it took off from the Kandla airport at that particular time, the wheels was intact. The front and the back wheel, the rear wheels both were intact, and the maintenance agencies also had checked the aircraft before it took off from the Kandla airport. It happened before it had to disembark, and it had to land at Mumbai airport. Just 150 to 180 knots above the ground, the aircraft wheel was missing, and the pilot in command immediately informed about it to ATC and AOCC as well. The command center of SpiceJet was immediately informed about it, and the command center immediately asked ATC also to guide the SpiceJet aircraft and to declare the emergency. We are trying to get to know that if there was a Mayday call to the ATC as well or not. But what the DGCA has got the information from the SpiceJet is that at around 3:45, before the aircraft was supposed to land at Mumbai airport, at that particular timing, ATC got call, and immediately the departures of all the airlines, all the departures were immediately put on hold. It was declared complete emergency at Mumbai airport. It happened at 3:30. From 3:30 p.m. till 5 p.m., it was declared complete emergency at Mumbai airport. There were almost 10 aircraft which were supposed to take off from Mumbai airport, but all were taken to the taxiing or the parking bay. They were not allowed to depart at that particular time because there was alarming situation. More than 50 officials and the security was deployed at the runway. Both the runway of takeoff and of landing was completely blocked for this particular SpiceJet aircraft, and we got to know because the aircraft was heavy because of the fuel, and therefore before landing, from the front side, the fuel was dumped while it was in air, and after that, this particular aircraft landed safely after 20 minutes, making turnaround in the air. After 20 minutes, it landed safely, but it landed on the back wheel, not on the front wheel, which was missing. So it's a really alarming situation as the passenger safety is concerned. We are also getting to know, Shawan, that
Harsha, I just want to once again emphasize, you are saying that there was a clearance that was given at the Kandla airport. This is essentially a protocol where you have a maintenance check that is done. So you're telling us that the airport authorities at Kandla had given a clearance, which means that the wheels were fine. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, Shawan. This because maintenance agencies are the private maintenance agency firms which each and every airline hire.
What happened thereafter? So the flight basically takes off from Kandla.
Yes.
It's airborne, and is that the time when the pilot of this aircraft is essentially informed that the wheel had dropped off?
Yes, and it was just 20 minutes before landing. Shaman, precisely 20 minutes before landing, the pilot in command informed the ATC about the missing wheel. Where it exactly got missed, immediately after it was airborne or before 20 minutes before landing, this pilot in command has not informed to the ATC or the control command center of the SpiceJet. But yes, what we have got to know that when it was airborne, that particular time only the pilot in command got to know that the front wheel is missing and he won't won't be able to land with just only the back wheel with so much of fuel in the aircraft. And this is the same situation, Shawan, which we saw during AI-171 crash, because the fuel was complete full in AI-171 aircraft, which led to that heavy accident. And this was the same alarming situation. Therefore, the ATC did all what they could do. Emergency was declared. All the airlines were completely taken back from the runway. No takeoff and no landing happened 1 hour
I
at
want to
Mumbai
also focus
airport.
on right now the landing. So you're telling us that 20 minutes before the landing, you have the pilot being informed by the ATC that there's a missing wheel, which means that the wheel was found at Kandla. In terms of how the landing took place in Mumbai, can you tell us more details? I'm given to understand ATC sources in Mumbai basically indicating that for 20 minutes, all operations were completely paralyzed because they were not very sure if the landing could have been done with just on the back wheels itself. Now this, just for the benefit of our viewers, it's a smaller aircraft. It's a Bombardier aircraft which is primarily used by SpiceJet in India. In fact, these are leased aircraft which are essentially used. Now, as far as this aircraft is concerned, when it landed at the Mumbai airport, what really happened? Can you just detail that for all our viewers who are tuning in right now? Because this is quite a scary situation. But having said that, this is also a reality that it has happened.
Yes, Shoma, you rightly pointed out. This is the situation we are experiencing every on day-to-day basis. Technical snags, but this is bizarre and astonishing how an aircraft took off with maintenance agencies giving it a clean chit and telling that there's no technical issue, there's no fault in the outside or inside of the aircraft, and it took off. It's a short journey. It's a short journey from Kandla to Mumbai, and therefore SpiceJet is using its Q400, which is a small aircraft, only 78 seats with 80 passengers seated in the aircraft. It's a small aircraft, but still 80 passengers, and the life of 80 passengers was put in danger.
Harsha, why don't you stay with us? Harsha, why don't you stay with us? I'm told because there is more breaking news coming in, so I'll just let you go for a few seconds so that you can speak to the ATC as well as the airline. In fact, Harsha, you should be asking the airline right now. In fact, we are sending in a questionnaire to SpiceJet, because in this particular statement, they make no mention of the fact that there's a missing wheel. There's a missing wheel, and in fact, it is important for our viewers to understand that maintenance check, which is essentially done, it is the responsibility of the airline itself. Group Captain Debnath is joining us. Group Captain Debnath, you must have heard this is a bizarre incident that has taken place, but officially now confirmed by SpiceJet, yes, that the aircraft landed on its back wheel. I want to understand from you, Group Captain Debnath, is this possible?
Rarest of the rare occasion when such technical mistakes may take place. Normally, an aircraft wheel should not fall off because the aircraft wheel is designed in a counterclockwise manner. That means if the aircraft is moving forward, then even if the main nut comes out, then even then the wheel does not come out, because the wheel threadings are designed to tighten automatically on their own when the aircraft is moving forward. Secondly, the wheel nut itself cannot come off because not only the nut is tightened, but there are split pin which are inserted through the wheel nut and then locked. So until the split pin gives way, which is inserted inside the nut cannot on its own rotate and come out. Now, this incident shows that if something can go wrong, it will go wrong sometimes somewhere. But good point is that aircraft pilot...
Group Captain Debnath, can I then ask you, because can you just help us understand? They're talking about an outer wheel that has actually gone missing. I just want to read it out for all our viewers who are tuning in, and perhaps Group Captain Debnath, you can also help us decode this, because this is what SpiceJet had to say. SpiceJet says that an outer wheel of SpiceJet Q400 aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai was found at the runway. The outer wheel, is it the front wheel that we're talking about?
Front wheel is normally in aviation jargon called as nose wheel, and the left side undercarriage is called port wheel, port undercarriage, and the right side undercarriage is called as starboard undercarriage in aviation jargon. So in case they have used the word outer wheel, probably so that a common citizen can understand, so it may be left port wheel or a right starboard wheel.
Okay. Group Captain Debnath, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. A tragedy has been averted at Mumbai airport. A Bombardier aircraft operated by SpiceJet landed in Mumbai on its back wheel with a missing wheel. 80 passengers on board. What we can confirm that the passengers are safe. A continuous coverage on this major tragedy that has been averted.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Not counting gang violence. Great!
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU, Charlie Kirk, turning point.
The 31-year-old was U.S.'s most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent...
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
We would also like to respond to the surprising, shallow and ill-informed remarks made by Switzerland, a close friend and partner. All the more important for Switzerland to avoid wasting the Council's time with narratives that are blatantly false and do not do justice to the reality of India.
Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media. Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media.
That have made remarks regarding India. We are compelled once again to address provocations from a country whose own leadership recently likened it to a dump truck. Perhaps an inadvertently apt metaphor for a state that continues to deposit recycled falsehoods and stale propaganda before this distinguished council. Pakistan's systematic abuse of this forum, coupled with its routine manipulation of the OIC as its mouthpiece, has become a familiar pattern. Its pathological fixation on India appears to provide it with existential validation. Yet, we must respond, lest we forget. Lest we forget the carnage of Pahalgam, where Pakistan-sponsored terrorists turned a meadow of joy into a killing field in April this year. Lest we forget 9/11 as the world marks its anniversary tomorrow, even as we witness today the hypocrisy of
This is Republic Jack Pollywall Studio. Stay tuned for all the breaking news and updates. I'm Akanksha Khajuria. Let's get started.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये हित तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU Charlie Kirk turning point.
The 31-year-old was U.S.'s most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
So who was Charlie Kirk?
If you want to have a privileged life in America, very simple, start acting a certain way.
What do you mean act a certain way?
Get married to one person and stay married to that person and don't abandon them, of which 75% of black men do.
So, okay, we have 2 black men right here. By that statistics, one of us is not going to get married to one woman. So,
okay, I hope you guys defy the odds.
Okay, so
were you raised by a two-parent household?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good. And that's why you are probably here, because that elevates my argument. Our belief system is that you come down to the most foundational.
Thank you for staying with Republic. And ladies and gentlemen, it's about to be Derby Day in Manchester United as they take on City in one of the football's biggest rivalries. Both teams are ready and fans around the world are watching very closely. The big question on our sports meter, will United beat City this time? Scan the QR code on your screen and cast your vote. Your vote decides the score.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
We would also like to respond to the surprising, shallow and ill-informed remarks made by Switzerland, a close friend and partner. All the more important for Switzerland to avoid wasting the Council's time with narratives that are blatantly false and do not do justice to the reality of India.
Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media. Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media.
That have made remarks regarding India. We are compelled once again to address provocations from a country whose own leadership recently likened it to a dump truck. Perhaps an inadvertently apt metaphor for a state that continues to deposit recycled falsehoods and stale propaganda before this distinguished council. Pakistan's systematic abuse of this forum, coupled with its routine manipulation of the OIC as its mouthpiece, has become a familiar pattern. Its pathological fixation on India appears to provide it with existential validation. Yet, we must respond, lest we forget. Lest we forget the carnage of Pahalgam, where Pakistan-sponsored terrorists turned a meadow of joy into a killing field in April this year. Lest we forget 9/11 as the world marked.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
The big breaking news now coming in at 5 p.m. A major accident averted at Mumbai airport. A SpiceJet flight landed at the Mumbai airport without the front set of wheels. We'll get you all the latest, but first let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this. SpiceJet lands after plane lands without front set of wheels. Full emergency declared at Mumbai airport.
I think the government has clarified its position that when it comes to bilaterals, we are not going to play against Pakistan. But when you have such ACC trophy or ICC trophy, we will have to participate in that.
Veterans and families of martyrs protest against the India-Pakistan Asia Cup match, but IPL chairman backs it.
फिर से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की माताजी का अपमान कर रही है। एक दिवंगत स्वर्गीय आत्मा का किस प्रकार से राजनीति के लिए मखौल उड़ा रही है।
Congress stoops to new low after abusing, now resorts to AI-generated video mockery. BJP hits out, says Congress has crossed the line. Crucial meeting in Nepal, President's house over next interim head concludes. Justice Sushila Karki likely to be appointed.
If confirmed, I'll work to advance trade that is fair, reciprocal, and beneficial to the American workers and businesses. I will advocate for reforms that will make India's markets more accessible and transparent.
After face-off over India buying crude oil from Russia, Washington's real intent revealed. Incoming ambassador says India must open up its market for crude oil. A bizarre incident that took place this afternoon at Mumbai airport. In fact, the airport was under full emergency. This after a SpiceJet Bombardier aircraft, that's the Q400, that took off from Kandla and was expected to land in Mumbai. Soon after takeoff, 20 minutes before landing, the pilot essentially being told by the ATC that a wheel is missing, leading to a situation where the aircraft landed on its back wheel after dumping the fuel. 80 passengers were on board. What we can confirm is that all passengers are safe. The aircraft has been taken to the bay where an investigation is already underway. The airline has actually put out a statement, and I quote from the statement that has been put out a short while back, where they have admitted that yes, such a thing has actually happened, and this is what SpiceJet had to say that an outer wheel of the aircraft operating from Kandla to Mumbai was found at the runway after takeoff. The aircraft continued its journey to Mumbai and landed safely. Now, they're calling it a smooth landing. The aircraft taxied to the terminal under its own power and all passengers disembarked normally. 80 passengers were on board. This incident took place a little after 3:30 this afternoon. In fact, on your screens right now, we are going to put out the visuals. The first visuals coming in of the SpiceJet aircraft. If we can go full frame with those visuals. First on Republic coming in of the aircraft on your screens. Can we go full frame, please? Now, these visuals that you see is of the Q400 SpiceJet operated bombardier that has landed in Mumbai. As you can see on your screens right now, an outer wheel which is actually missing. We are going to just treat the visuals in a short while from now, and just to help you understand what really happened and how dangerous this incident has been, and how exactly is the airline really washing its hands off by simply saying that the maintenance clearance was already given. Sources basically indicating that 20 minutes before landing is when the pilot was essentially informed that there isn't a wheel, and there was no other option for the pilot but to land, but it landed on its back wheel. Now, we'll try and also bring in our aviation experts to understand that how that was actually possible, because as I understand, the nose wheel was perfectly fine. It's an outer wheel is what we're being told. If I'm not wrong, it would be one of the ones on the rear end which wasn't really operating, and without which the aircraft actually landed, putting the lives of 80 passengers at risk. Now, the airline, in fact, has now said that it was a smooth landing and it was taxied to the bay, and the passengers are all safe. But the reality is also this, ladies and gentlemen, that this was a major scare for all the passengers who were inside. Group Captain Bajpai is joining us on this broadcast. Group Captain Bajpai, the big news coming in from our reporter Harsha, confirming that such an incident took place. First on Republic, we're getting in full details of it. But I first want to understand from you, on your screens, we have put out the first set of visuals coming in of the aircraft landing. Help us understand what's the outer wheel that the airline is talking about, and how was the landing really possible without a missing wheel?
Amused, it's a quite unheard of such incident. Either somebody is not following the correct nomenclature, because the outer wheel is being used the term for the main wheel. The main wheel is having a port wheel, starboard wheel, or left wheel or right wheel. Both port and starboards are having two wheels. So there is one outer wheel and one inner wheel. On nose wheel side, there is no outer wheel, inner wheel. That's one point. Second point, when we say that aircraft has done the fuel dumping has taken place, so that must be when the pilot has thought that the wheels are not there and he may have to make a belly landing, means without wheels he is going to land on the runway. So that time, to avoid the chances, minimize the chances of fire, he throws the fuel in air or burns the fuel in the air, so that he lands on the ground with the minimum fuel. Now, in case, and the third point which I want to tell to our viewers is that there might be an indication problem. Why I am saying, though we don't have the full details of the incident, but at this juncture, when you are telling the aircraft has landed smoothly and of its own it was taxied to its designated bay, it means the main wheel and nose wheel both were in order, and that's how it could be moved on its own power, on its own wheel. So, but if the reported incident is correct, and in case if outer wheel has gone missing during takeoff or in air, then it is extremely serious incident. Anything could have happened. It could have compromised the passenger's safety. I can't imagine a situation when such things takes place, that outer wheel gets missing.
Okay, Group Captain Bajpai, I'm going to just request you to stay on with us, because I'm going to just quickly take our viewers through some of the breaking news now coming in only on Republic TV. What we're going to do right now is take you through over the last 1 hour what really has happened, what is the current situation like. Around 3:30 is when the takeoff actually took place, is what we are being told. And soon after the takeoff, 20 minutes before the landing, is when the pilot was informed by the ATC that a wheel is actually missing, leading to a situation where the aircraft had to land on its back wheel. This after the fuel was dumped mid-air to ensure that the weight is adequate and perhaps leads to a stabilization of the aircraft moments after it lands. What we can confirm is that passengers are all safe. But having said that, the airline has now been pulled up by DGCA. DGCA has asked for a full report to come in as to how this was possible. What we can confirm is also this, that a maintenance check rather was done just before the takeoff. In fact, the clearance was given, and that's the indication now coming in from sources. And this is what the airline has also told DGCA, that the checks were in place and that they had already been informed that everything is fine and they can carry on with the takeoff. It turns out that after the takeoff, they basically spotted the wheel, and this is an outer wheel, is what the airline has now confirmed. The airline has confirmed that this was an outer wheel that was misplaced, and in fact it was dropped off during the takeoff. So the takeoff was absolutely fine, and thereafter the wheels went missing. When the pilot was told just 20 minutes before landing. What you see right now, these are images coming in of the landing, the moment the aircraft had basically landed. Let me also try and see if we can go across to reporter Harsha, who's got us the latest details. In fact, we're getting in one more statement coming in from the Mumbai airport. Now, Mumbai airport statement has come in, and they are saying an aircraft from Kandla made an emergency landing at the Chhatrapati Shivaji airport. This was around 3:51 on 12th of September after reporting a technical issue. So this is a confirmation now coming in that 3:51 is when the landing took place at the Mumbai airport. This is the very time. 3:30 is when there was a full emergency that was declared at the Mumbai airport because the flight had to land. Now, a full emergency was declared as a precaution. The aircraft has landed safely on runway 27. All passengers, crew are essentially safe. Normal operations resumed shortly after is what we are being told. Now, can we just put out the first statement coming in from the Mumbai airport? They are now confirming that the landing took place at 3:51 and the passengers are safe. We'll try and see if we can go across to our reporter on the ground, Harsha, as well as Satya Prakash, who's also going to join us from Mumbai airport. Harsha, what more details are you picking up? There is some confusion with regards to which wheel was actually missing. It's the outer wheel, which means it's not the nose wheel, essentially allowing the aircraft to land. What more details are you picking up?
So yes, Shravan, what the SpiceJet has informed to us is that outer wheel was missing, and it happened soon after the takeoff. The distance from Kandla to Mumbai airport, Shravan, is 1 hour 35 minutes. That means approximately around 3 o'clock, the flight would have taken off from the Kandla airport, and at around 3:45 p.m. the emergency was declared. 3:51 it has landed at Mumbai airport. Between 3:30 to 3:45 is the time when there was an emergency situation in the aircraft, when the pilot in command got to know that yes, there's no wheel, the wheels in the aircraft is missing, and the missing wheel has been found after information to the control command center. The missing wheel has been found at the runway of the Kandla airport. That means while the aircraft took off from the Kandla airport, at that particular time there was outer wheel in the aircraft, but soon after taking off, while it was airborne, there was no wheel in the aircraft. There was no outer wheel in the aircraft. However, SpiceJet has informed us that the outer wheel was missing. It has now been found at Kandla airport at around 3:45 p.m. Precisely, emergency was declared, but they are not telling us anything about the Mayday call. They are only quoting by stating that the pilot informed about emergency. Pilot again and again to ATC was stating about emergency situation. He never stated the word Mayday. That's what the SpiceJet and the authorities at ATC has confirmed to us, but that's for sure that the wheel was missing soon after it took off from the Kandla airport. The investigation has begun into this matter because now DGCA has very seriously taken this entire situation and matter which has happened at Mumbai airport. Immediately at around 4 p.m. Soon after landing, the Spice Jet authorities have informed DGCA about the entire incident which took place today. Also, DGCA has immediately inquired an investigation into this entire incident. The MOCA, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, has also been apprised about this alarming situation which took place at Mumbai airport, because of which almost for 45 minutes none of the other airlines' departure could take place. Back.
Well, Harsha, I'll request you to stay on with us as we're getting at more details right now. Full details only on Republic TV. Captain Panesar is also joining us on this broadcast. Captain Panesar, you've heard what our reporter has brought us right now in terms of the incident that has taken place. A dangerous incident, if I may say so, because a flight lands with a missing wheel. In a nutshell, they had to take the risk. There was no other option but to make sure that it lands in a particular manner. Could you help us understand that with the missing wheel, what does this essentially mean and how dangerous can it actually be?
Well, it could be very dangerous also, but it's great. First of all, very great that the pilot has landed safely and no harm to the human beings or baggage and all that on board. It's a very good job he has done. After knowing the one wheel has gone, he must have taken necessary precaution by checklist how to land with one wheel missing. It's not a very common incident, but it depends on the maintenance problem. You see how they are supposed to check the condition of the main wheels and all that before releasing an aircraft on a flight. And if they have not checked it, it's a very sad thing. It could have converted into a very serious injury, but I appreciate the pilot's capability that knowing that main wheel consists of two wheels, and if one wheel has gone, he landed very safely on the one wheel, which is a great job done by the pilot. It could have been very serious, but it's a maintenance problem. And I'm sure after investigation by DGC, they will come out with the exact facts. What is the reason that caused this main wheel to get out of the bungee now? It's a very sad thing. Only the investigation will come out and give us the truth of the thing, how the wheel has come, is a maintenance problem or bad landing and all. Everything has to be decided only after the investigation. It is premature to guess anything what could have happened. Now let's wait for the investigation and we'll come to know the exact reason. But at the same time, I appreciate the pilot knowing that one wheel is missing. He landed
Captain
very
safely. I'm not too sure whether you can see this. Captain Panesar, I'm not too sure whether you can see the screens right now. If you can, then perhaps just take a look at it. It seems that one side of the wheel is missing. So you have a full-fledged two wheels together, of which one of the wheel is missing. So it enables the aircraft to land, of course, at full risk. But what you're seeing right now, can we please go back full frame right now with the visual? Because what you have at the rear end are basically two set of wheels, of which one seems to be missing. Captain Panesar, am I correct?
Yes, even one wheel is missing. The pilot has to, if he knows fully well which wheel is missing, he can land with the little pressure on the main wheel, which is having two wheels, and a less pressure on the right wheel. He has done a good job by landing knowingly fully well the wheel is not there, and he's done a smooth landing and saved the lives of passenger and saved the baggage, the aircraft also. But let's wait for the investigation because they will come to know the exact thing where certain things are recorded on a digital flight data recorder also. Everything they will come to know after the investigation. It's premature to guess anything, but it could have led to a very serious incident also. It saved the life of passenger, which is a very big job done by the pilot.
Captain Panesar, I'll just request you to stay on with us because we also have more information now coming in. First set of images coming in of the missing wheel. Can I also go back to our reporter on the ground? Harsha, we've just got the picture of the missing wheel. In terms of the investigation that is going to be carried out, what more are you picking up? Has the DGCA pulled up the airline? How much time has the DGCA given the airline to respond? Any details you're picking up?
Shravan, just now we have got more details about the passenger, the crew count and the gear wheel. Just now the information which have flashed right now immediately as well for all, for everyone to see this as well. Shravan, you can also look at it. It was the crew count is 2 plus 2. Passengers seated was 71. That means in total almost 75 passengers were seated. Earlier the count which was told to us roughly, what they were telling it was 78, but in total 75 people were on board in this aircraft. They are particularly stating it was starboard side main landing gear wheel was missing. Landing gear wheel was missing. That means it was an important part of the aircraft. It's the most important gear wheel, which is the most, which actually comes out first at the time of the landing. Especially it was the starboard side. In a technical term which is used by the SpiceJet to the prelim information which they have shared to the DGCA, the authorities. And this is right now the information which has come to us. The investigation has already begun. One prelim information about the entire incident has been shared to the DGCA, the authorities, the regulatory body. They have been shared by the SpiceJet about the entire incident. They also stated what was the initial message from the side of the pilot in command to ATC. Before ATC, the AOCC, the Control Command Center, was informed about the missing wheel, and immediately the Control Command Center told to the ATC at Kandla about the wheel. If there is any wheel at the runway, the missing wheel was found at the runway of the Kandla airport. And now we have got to know that investigation has begun, and soon the DGCA has asked SpiceJet. They have asked for more info on what was the conversation between pilot in command and the ATC, and immediately how this entire incident happened. Was there lack of maintenance, and who was the maintenance agency which actually did tick mark and did the last maintenance of the Q400 before it took off from the Kandla airport. This is the exact information, Shravan, which we have got our hands on. DGCA has sought more information from SpiceJet, asking them about the maintenance agency. Now the maintenance agency is in question, which was the particular maintenance agency that maintained this particular aircraft and didn't inform the airline about the issue, the technical fault in the wheel. How come soon after it took off, the wheel was missing? It fell off on the runway. The latest information, Shravan, which we have now received from our sources in the regulatory body. Back to you.
Well, in fact, Harsha, I'll request you to stay on with us. We've got a series of breaking news now coming in. We do have a confirmation. It's the starboard landing gear wheel that has gone missing. Captain Panisar, help us understand. What does this mean? The starboard landing gear wheel missing. What's the immediate ramification of it? The fact that this wheel was missing, and the aircraft, the pilot had no other option but carry on with the operations and also carry on with the landing.
You see, there are two things. There are main wheel, there are two sets of main wheels, the right side and left side, and the two wheel set. If one wheel is gone and the pilot is aware of it, then he has to really do a very good smooth landing with a minimum speed and not apply a bunch of brakes to avoid any risk to the life or baggage of the baggages on board the aircraft. So I think he's done a good job. Now only let us wait for the investigation, how the main wheel has come out. It is a very rare incident that has come up in sight today. But the aircraft is safe, people are safe. It's a very big job done by the pilot. Now, pilot is the main witness to tell us at what stage he came to know or he was informed. Then one wheel was left behind at Kandla airport. Did it fell off while takeoff? Or it must have happened during takeoff only. Because then before takeoff, the pilot go around the aircraft and see everything is okay. He must have checked the wheels are also okay. But how main wheel has come out is a very shocking news. It's a maintenance problem, and I'm sure the DGCA will be able to come to know what is the problem of DGCA maintenance problem. And no, it's a good thing. The pilot must tell us at what stage he came to know the wheel is gone off, and then he has taken a good precaution. As per the checklist, he has landed safely with the minimum speeds, and there was no danger to the aircraft or life on board.
So we do have a confirmation now coming in that 75 passengers were on board. The starboard landing gear was missing. The command control center was basically informed that the missing wheel was found on the runway, and thereafter the ATC was also informed immediately thereafter. And finally, more details now coming in. I'm told that there's more breaking news now coming in. SpiceJet maintains that all its aircraft, no private maintenance agency hired for maintenance and repair. So SpiceJet says, SpiceJet has now told the regulator that they maintain the aircraft. No private maintenance agency carries on with the maintenance and repair. Can I just quickly get in, Harsha, for that big breaking news now coming in? SpiceJet has clarified there's no third party maintenance agency, Harsha.
That means, Shavan, now the more strict action should be taken against this particular airline, because there is no private maintenance agency which has been hired for any sort of maintenance or repair of their aircraft. SpiceJet itself handles all the maintenance and repair work of its aircraft. In total, they have 225 big aircrafts, and if we talk about Q400, they also have it few in numbers, but yes, for the distance of 1.5 hours, they usually use their Q400, and this particular aircraft was maintained by SpiceJet itself. That means the authorities in question are of SpiceJet only, but we are not receiving any sort of documented or any sort of email which has been given by regulatory body to SpiceJet in this entire incident. What we have gotten to know is that the first DGCA, the prelim information was shared by SpiceJet to DGCA. The regulatory body then immediately asked SpiceJet to begin the investigation and share the entire report, what exactly transpired into this bizarre and a very dangerous incident where the passenger's life was almost averted. And right now what we have got to know is that DGCA by evening will be sending out the investigation details, what all they have to investigate, what SpiceJet has to investigate, and submit the entire report to regulatory body by today evening itself. But whatever conversation is right now happening between SpiceJet and regulatory body is right now coming to us from the sources within the regulatory body itself. The SpiceJet has just few minutes back only, the SpiceJet has informed the regulatory body about the maintenance, that maintenance and repair is done by them only. That means it's a serious concern about the SpiceJet, their airlines, their aircraft, what sort of aircraft they are flying in the short route, which has jeopardized the life of almost 75 people who were seated today in Q400 aircraft of SpiceJet.
Well, thank you very much, Harsha, for getting us the latest details. Veterans and families of martyrs protest against the India-Pakistan Asia Cup match, but IPL chairman backs it. Congress stoops to a new low after abusing, now resorts to AI video mockery of Prime Minister's late mother.
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point.
The 31-year-old was US's most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
So who was Charlie Kirk?
If you want to have a privilege,
SpiceJet lands after plane lands without the front set of wheels. Full emergency had been declared at the Mumbai airport.
I think the government has clarified its position when it comes to bilaterals. We are not going to play against Pakistan. But when you have such ACC trophy or ICC trophy, we will have to participate in that.
And families of martyrs protest against India-PAK Asia Cup match, but IPL chairman backs it.
कांग्रेस पार्टी फिर से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की माताजी का अपमान कर रही है। एक दिवंगत स्वर्गीय आत्मा का किस प्रकार से राजनीति के लिए मखौल उड़ा रही है।
Congress stoops to a new low after abusing, now resorts to AI video mockery of PM's late mother. Crucial meeting at Nepal President's house over next interim head concludes. Justice Karki likely to be appointed.
Confirmed, I'll work to advance trade that is fair, reciprocal, and beneficial to the American workers and businesses. I will advocate for reforms that will make India's markets more accessible and transparent.
After face-off over India buying crude oil from Russia, Washington's real intent is revealed. Incoming ambassador says India must open up its market for crude oil. Good evening, welcome to Republic. I'm Rhythm. The big breaking news right here. The US has now delivered a third GE F404 engine for India's indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas program. This makes a significant boost to Indo-US defense cooperation. This development comes after a brief slowdown in engine supplies due to diplomatic tensions between the two countries. The delivery is part of a larger deal where GE Aerospace is to supply 99 F404 IN-20 engines to power the Tejas Mk-1A jets. Despite initial delays, GE has committed to delivering 12 engines by the close of 2025, ramping up 2 engines per month by early 2026. I'm going to go across to Ishan, my colleague who's joining us live. But before that, let me first play out a reaction that's coming in of the Defence Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh.
So at a broader level, as I mentioned, we've already decided that we'll spend not less than 75% of our defense spending domestically. Last year, we actually spent 88% entirely within the country. Specifically about jet, I assume you're talking about the jet engines in particular. Other engines, there are various initiatives underway. For fighter engines, jet engines in particular, as the Raksha Mantri had announced some time back, we are at the final stages of developing a collaboration with an international engine house along with DRDO. That's a long-term process. It will take perhaps as much as a decade to develop. The intent is to identify an engine house which is willing to, which has done this in the past, and which is able to transfer 100% IPR to India. And with that in mind, we've shortlisted someone, and we will be moving the highest levels of government for taking those decisions subsequently.
We're now joined by our colleague Ishan, who's breaking the story and giving us details on that story. This is a significant development, Ishan. This is fulfilling Indian Air Force's order of 83 Tejas Mk 1A aircraft, and this is also a contract that we had with GE for 99 F404 after burning turbofan engines for the Tejas Mk 1A fleet.
Yeah, exactly. The delivery came after significant delays. The third engine was supposed to be delivered in August. However, it was delivered in September. It was after this delayed delivery of the engine, India had already started negotiating the development and production of these 404 engines within India. HAL had sent a team earlier this year to conclude and negotiate on this contract, and the talks are underway, and the GE team is expected to visit India. Apart from this, Rajesh Kumar sir, Defense Secretary of India, has clearly iterated that DRDO is in talks with Sarfan, a French aerospace company, to have a dedicated production of engines within India. This engine is presumably for the AMCA program and will be in the 120 to 140 kilonewton thrust capacity. And furthermore, he also in the same comment stated that India has already started development of marine engines, and these marine engine contract has been given to Kirloskar. The 270 crore project was allotted to Kirloskar to develop a marine engine in India. This development of an engine and production of engines in India will definitely boost India's capacity to produce not only jets of a world-class standard, but also advanced fighter jets such as the AMCA, which are of the stealth variant.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ishan, for giving us those details. Viewers, we give you more news that's coming in and breaking at that. All departures had been on hold at the Mumbai airport after the SpiceJet scare. The information coming in was that the SpiceJet flight had left Kandla. When it had left Kandla, and while taking off, one of the wheels had dropped on the runway in Kandla. SpiceJet is now to submit an incident occurrence report by the end of the day to the DGCA. It was a scare at the Mumbai airport. They've come out with a statement. I want to go straight across to Harsha to get more details on the story. Harsha, there is big breaking news also coming in, and there is also going to be some intervention which Harsha will tell us. But Harsha, I want to first get your first inputs on the story. What really occurred? SpiceJet is going to submit a report, now we are told, by the end of the day.
So, Rhythm, it was 1.5 hour flight from Kandla to Mumbai airport. It took off from the Kandla airport around 2:30 and we were supposed to land at Mumbai airport at around 3:45. But before landing only, the emergency was declared at the Mumbai airport. Initially, not the ATC, but the command center was informed about the missing wheel. It was when pilot realized that now the flight has to be, flight has to be landed at Mumbai airport at that particular time. The pilot in command of the SpiceJet realized that there is a missing wheel in the outer part of the aircraft, and that is not there, and there was no landing gear. That is the reason why immediately the emergency situation took place inside the aircraft, and the ATC was informed. The AOCC, ATC and pilot were together on the call when it was being suggested that how the landing will happen without the outer wheel which was missing, and immediately it was got to know by the SpiceJet authorities that the missing wheel was found at Kandla airport. Such an astonishing and dangerous incident was averted today, Rhythm, with 75 people on board. In this particular aircraft, there was 71 passengers and 4 crew members in the aircraft when this particular incident could lead to a very big dangerous incident at Mumbai airport. Immediately after the authorities got to know about the missing wheel and the landing has to be done, it has to be done safely. The entire ATC authorities were in touch with the pilot in command regarding the safe landing, but it was very difficult. Pilot made a turn around in the air till the time they were navigating that how the aircraft has to be landed. The aircraft was full of fuel, and therefore the fuel was being emptied from the front area of the aircraft. After that, the aircraft safely landed at around 3:51 p.m. at the Mumbai airport. 75 passengers seated. Entire emergency was declared at Mumbai airport for 45 minutes. Not any single airline aircraft was allowed to either take off or land at Mumbai airport for 45 minutes. All Indigo, Air India and Akasa and other airlines were immediately informed to hold their departures and their landing immediately, because this particular aircraft was supposed to land and it successfully landed. How it was navigated was because of the wit of the pilot in command and the ATC together navigating the landing. It safely landed, but it raises a lot of concern on the passenger's safety, because now the questions are being raised. If the aircraft didn't have the wheel, why the maintenance was not done of the aircraft beforehand, and even the maintenance check was done at the Kandla airport, then how come this technical issue and in the wheel was not informed to the aircraft or to the airline SpiceJet, and immediately when it took off from the Kandla airport, soon it was airborne. At that time only the wheel fell off on the runway of the Kandla airport. This entire incident has happened, and the fresh information what we are learning is that the regulatory body has sought an entire occurrence of the incident report from the SpiceJet, which they have to submit to the regulatory body by the end of the day. And also the fresh information we are learning from our sources within the regulatory body is that looking at the severity of the incident, the AIB will intervene in the investigation of this particular incident. Back to you.
Thank you, Harsha. I want you to stay with us as there is more breaking news that's coming in. Sources are now telling my colleague Harsha that looking at the severity of the incident, AAIB is likely to intervene in the investigation of the SpiceJet missing wheel incident. Harsha, give us more details.
Yes, Rhythm, that's what I was telling to all our viewers, for also to understand that whenever there is such highly dangerous incident has taken place, like earlier in the Air India Kochi Bombay aircraft also, we have seen that when the flight landed near the bush and not on the runway, that particular incident also AIB is investigating. And this particular incident as well, what regulatory body has told us that not only the regulatory body but along with the regulators, also the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the AIB, will also investigate the particular incident which has happened today. They are waiting for the entire occurrence of the incident report given to the regulatory body. Once the report of the incident is handed over to the regulatory body, soon AIB will also join the investigation, and then the depth of the entire maintenance issue, the technical problem, how come the wheel was missing, the wheel was not checked properly, how long the maintenance was not done, and even if SpiceJet is maintaining its own aircraft, how come this incident could have happened, and what led to happen this incident. This all questions answer we will get only when AIB investigation will begin, and it will happen in a day or two once the regulatory body get the occurrence incident report from the SpiceJet. This is the latest we are learning from our sources within the regulators. Back to you.
Harsha, I want you to stay with us. We also have GP Vajpayee, who's joining us, an aviation expert right here. Flights at the Mumbai airport have been disrupted on Thursday. This was an emergency declared when the SpiceJet aircraft lost the wheel during takeoff from Kandla in Gujarat. Increasingly, we are seeing that this is happening. It's not the first time, not the second time. It's almost become routine for flights to be having one issue or the other. What seems to be the real issue?
Ma'am, you are absolutely right. It is extremely dangerous situation. We are compromising the passenger's safety. The particular incident which we are discussing is happened on a SpiceJet aircraft. It seems to me it's a clearly lapse on the part of maintenance. Now it's up to the DGCA and AIIB to investigate what all places they have gone wrong. What maintenance work, recent past maintenance work were performed on the affected wheel or landing gear. For better understanding of our viewer, let me tell there are two.
All right, there is more breaking news coming in. President of the United States, Donald Trump, confirms Charlie Kirk's killer has now been arrested. After two fake and false suspects, the FBI was struggling to catch Charlie Kirk's killer. But now President Trump has now stated that Charlie Kirk's killer has finally been arrested. He was earlier at large. There was a swirl of confusion that had earlier gripped the United States, Utah, after the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk, an activist and a close ally of President Donald Trump of the United States. Officials hailed the arrest of one suspect only to reverse the course later. But now, President of the United States, Donald Trump, says Charlie Kirk's killer has now been arrested. After two suspects were taken and then released, they said there's an ongoing investigation and manhunt for the shooter. Charlie Kirk, 31, was shot dead while addressing a large outdoor crowd at the Utah Valley University, UREM. These are the shots of the accused, of the person who's now been arrested. He was running through at that time near Salt Lake City in UREM around 2:20 p.m. on that day. And the Department of Public Safety had also issued a statement. Let me also go across to Pruthart. Pruthart, what are the details we are picking up of the person who's now finally been arrested as the killer of Charlie Kirk?
Very early inputs that are coming in rhythm at the moment. A 3-day manhunt for the man who killed Charlie Kirk at the university in Utah is now finally in custody. That's the one-line breaking update that we are getting at the moment. Further details are awaited. There was a massive manhunt launched by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which was personally being led by the bureau chief there, Kash Patel, and even a $100,000 reward was announced by the US FBI for leads into the arrest. The pictures were released of the man there fleeing the scene that we are running at the moment from the rooftop of the university. It is believed to have been a sniper shot that has killed allegedly Charlie Kirk 3 days ago when he was speaking at a university event in Utah. And now the biggest breaking news update that we have, President Trump has confirmed that the assassin, the man who killed Charlie Kirk, has been arrested. At the moment, the identity of this killer is yet to be ascertained or at least made public. He's in FBI custody, and the most important fact will be about understanding the motives of this killer, whether they were ideological or whether there was something else, and what particularly provoked this man to carry out this attack. Was there a larger conspiracy behind the murder of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk? Was it a political violence case as it has been touted to be? Remember, Charlie Kirk has now been hailed as one of the 4 leading political commentators from the conservative side. In fact, US has also announced the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the Bharat Ratna equivalent of the United States for Charlie Kirk. That was the announcement made by President Trump just a couple of days ago. The entire US government had mobilized its resources to locate this man, the killer on your screen, who was absconding for 3 long days when the world's most popular investigative agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, was on the hunt for him. And now the biggest breaking news development rhythm that we are tracking at the moment, awaiting further confirmation from the United States about the details of what happened, is that he has been finally arrested, and President Trump has responded to Charlie Kirk's assassin saying that he did not deserve this. I think there is a high degree of certainty that we have him in custody, and Charlie Kirk's assassin suspect is what President Trump, the US President himself, has announced to the world now, that is perhaps in custody. We are further awaiting clarifications. The FBI is expected to make an official statement now that the US President has announced that the suspect is likely in custody. What does that mean, and the specifics of it and the implications in the larger investigation is something that remains to be seen. But for the last 3 days, there was a complete state of shock in the United States after conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated while he was speaking at an event, in a university event on campus in Utah. He frequently did that. He visited various campuses and held debates and discussions with liberals and people from the opposite side of the political spectrum. That was his thing. And during one of these events in Utah, he was killed. The motivations initially reported by the US media was also believed to have been something linked to the idea stance of Charlie Kirk and his positions on that. However, there are no confirmations on whether that was the case or not. Now that the person is in FBI custody, according to President Trump, those were the facts which will be soon revealed upon interrogation. But as the due process of law is concerned, US President Donald Trump just yesterday had in fact called this killer an animal, saying that he did not deserve this and that he will be treated with the full wrath of the law appropriately. Now all eyes will be on whether the identity of this killer is made public and the motivations are, because this will have international ramifications. We We have seen the European Parliament also already having a debate over it, and there was a standoff between a Polish lawmaker in the European Parliament where he requested for a moment of silence there. So there has this entire death and assassination case has divided the entire global left and global right communities on very sharp political violence lines. Now it remains to be seen whether this was a rogue element or whether there was a larger conspiracy behind this rhythm. But the biggest breaking news update, ladies and gentlemen, US President Donald Trump confirms that Charlie Kirk's killer has been arrested after a 3-day, 72-hour-long manhunt by the FBI. Back to the studio.
Stay with us. I'm also going to give the latest bit of information coming in. President Trump has now spoken out, and he's not only confirmed Kirk shooter is now in custody, the assassin. He's also said with a high degree of certainty authorities have Charlie Kirk's assassin in custody. He's also said he hopes Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin will get the death penalty. So that's the big breaking news that's also coming in. He's also asserted President Donald Trump of the United States has asserted he did not deserve this. This is on Charlie Kirk's assassination. The dramatic, shocking visuals that had come in earlier that had shaken everybody. Now the confusion earlier surrounding the killer has now subsided. Earlier it was stated that there were 2 people taken into custody, but now that this tweet has come out from President Donald Trump, it's clear 3 things that he's in fact stated. With a high degree of certainty, they believe that the authorities have Charlie Kirk's assassin in custody. President Trump also says that he hopes that they get the death penalty. And Trump on Charlie Kirk's killer has said that somebody that was very close to him turned him in. So another bit of information coming in, and this time also from Donald Trump himself on Charlie Kirk's assassin. Somebody close to him has turned him in. I hope the suspected assassin gets the death penalty. He also did not deserve this when he talks about Charlie Kirk and the way he was killed. Earlier the suspect was at large. There were 2 wrongful suspects who were arrested, but they were later released. There was an elderly man who was led away in handcuffs. Kirk was, remember, hit by a single bullet after 12:20 p.m. on Wednesday as he took questions beneath a tent in campus. His assassin now in custody. And coming up after a short break, we get you more details. Veterans and families of martyrs protest against India-Pakistan Asia Cup, but IPL chairman backs it. Congress stoops to new low after abusing, now resorts to AI video mockery of PM's late mother.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
One question that came to my mind was, how did so many people gather at one place at a particular time? So obviously, from what I've understood from what you've said, there were people asking for students to gather in different places, correct?
No. It was like the place was fixed. The time was fixed. But the person behind it or the mastermind behind it, I'm also unknown who did it. But there are few conspiracy theories. I don't want to go on them. But yeah, there are a few conspiracy theories like who might have done this.
Let me ask you a question. I'm asking you as a youth. I'm part of. I consider myself a part of the youth in India, and I'm asking you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel that the frustration, the anger of the youth, the passion of the youth, and everything that you passionately felt for has been somewhere been taken advantage of, given only the kind of rioting, arson that we have seen in Nepal, like to burn down your parliament? I understand there is anger, right? But to burn down parliament, burn down homes, burn down hotels, like many properties which are not even linked. Do you feel that maybe
For
somewhere
sure.
that's been taken advantage of?
So you used that one word called infiltration, right?
Yeah.
So exactly that happened. Because Gen Zs were never supposed to do that. It was ignited by people.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point.
The 30.
This is Republic Jack Olival Studio. Stay tuned for all the live and breaking news updates. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. Let's get started.
President, we would also like to respond to the surprising, shallow and ill-informed remarks made by Switzerland, a close friend and partner. All the more important for Switzerland to avoid wasting the Council's time with narratives that are blatantly false and do not do justice to the reality of India.
Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media. Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media.
That have made remarks regarding India. We are compelled once again to address provocations from a country whose own leadership recently likened it to a dump truck. Perhaps an inadvertently apt metaphor for a state that continues to deposit recycled falsehoods and stale propaganda before this distinguished council. Pakistan's systematic abuse of this forum, coupled with its routine manipulation of the OIC as its mouthpiece, has become a familiar pattern. Its pathological fixation on India appears to provide it with existential validation. Yet, we must respond, lest we forget. Lest we forget the carnage of Pahalgam, where Pakistan-sponsored terrorists turned a meadow of joy into a killing field in April this year. Lest we forget 9/11, as the world marks its anniversary tomorrow, even as we witness today the hypocrisy of those who sheltered its mastermind and glorified him as a martyr. Lest we forget Pulwama, Uri, Pathankot, Mumbai. The list is endless, Mr. President. Yet, Pakistan demonstrates the audacity to take the floor today, feigning moral outrage while continuing to finance and shelter the very networks that threaten global security. The international community recognizes this charade for what it is. The world will not forget. India will not forget. Our measured and proportionate response to the Pahalgam attack made that sufficiently clear. We need no lessons from a terror sponsor, no sermons from a persecutor of minorities, no advice from a state that has squandered its own credibility. Mr. President, India will continue to protect its citizens with unwavering resolve. We will defend our sovereignty without compromise. And we will continue to expose, time and again, the elaborate deception of a failed state whose survival depends upon trafficking in terror and tragedy. Mr. President, we would also like to respond to the surprising, shallow and ill-informed remarks made by Switzerland, a close friend and partner. As it holds the UNHRC presidency, it is all the more important for Switzerland to avoid wasting the Council's time with narratives that are blatantly false and do not do justice to the reality of India. Instead, it should focus on its own challenges, such as racism, systematic discrimination, and xenophobia. As the world's largest, most diverse, and vibrant democracy, with a civilizational embrace of pluralism, India remains ready to help Switzerland address these concerns.
One question that came to my mind was, how did so many people gather at one place at a particular time? So obviously, from what I've understood from what you've said, there were people asking for students to gather in different places, correct?
No. It was like the place was fixed. The time was fixed. But the person behind it or the mastermind behind it, I'm also unknown who did it. But there are few conspiracy theories. I don't want to go on them. But yeah, there are a few conspiracy theories like who might have done this.
Let me ask you a question. I'm asking you as a youth. I'm part of. I consider myself a part of the youth in India, and I'm asking you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel that the frustration, the anger of the youth, the passion of the youth, and everything that you passionately felt for has been somewhere been taken advantage of? Given only the kind of rioting, arson that we have seen in Nepal, like to burn down your parliament. I understand there is anger, right? But to burn down parliament, burn down homes, burn down hotels, like many properties which are not even linked. Do you feel that maybe
For
somewhere
sure.
that's been taken advantage of?
So you use that one word called infiltration, right?
Yeah.
So exactly that happened. Because Gen Zs were never supposed to do that. It was ignited by people who were not supposed to be there. And okay, parliament burning, it's like a very big deal. And burning is not even the solution, right? And there are a lot of people who even, there is this place called Singadorwar. It has a lot of historical significance.
Yeah.
And somehow it also got burned, like it did.
Yeah.
And Gen Zs were not the ones to do it. They were criminals, basically. And literally,
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Very good evening, viewers. You're watching the latest edition of 6 Stories at 6, and I am Rakshita Mishra with you, viewers. We will start with the abuse bomb that is only exploding, viewers. Congress is stooping to a new law. It posts an AI-generated video of Prime Minister Modi's mother and then goes on to justify it. Story number 2, viewers, will be the latest coming in from the aviation world. It's the SpiceJet controversy. A wheel goes missing, viewers. We got it first, and we'll tell you all the exclusive details that are coming in on that. Story number 3 is Sujit Balaji's death. Now, his mother has spoken exclusively to Republic TV and has reacted to Sam Altman's suicide theory. Also on the show, we get you the latest from Nepal, as there is a division of opinion amongst the protest groups about who should be the chief of its interim government. Also, we get you the latest coming in from Manipur. Republic TV will be taking you through the preparations for Prime Minister's visit in Imphal. And finally, the shocking case from Dallas, where an Indian origin man was beheaded in broad daylight. All that on the show, but we start with the big breaking we have on Charlie Kirk's assassination, viewers. We have an update coming in that the police have arrested a suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk on the Utah College campus. Now, assassination suspect is in custody. This has been announced by Donald Trump himself. And I quote him. Trump says, I quote, "I think with a high degree of certainty we have him in custody." And he also went on to say that somebody that was very close to him turned him in. Trump says that he did not deserve this. Of course, he's talking about Charlie Kirk, and he was very close to Charlie Kirk, of course. We have Kruta joining us live on the broadcast from Kruta. Well, Trump exudes confidence. He says that there is high degree of certainty. But what all do we know about this suspect? Because there was information also that was released by the FBI also on him.
Rakshita, for the last 72 hours, there was a very high-intensity manhunt on in the United States, led by the Federal Bureau of Investigation under Kash Patel, to locate this man who was on the rooftops at the Utah University, where Charlie Kirk was shot dead at the event. He was seen fleeing from the scene, and his pictures had gone viral. And in the entirety of the United States of America, there was a manhunt for this man. Now, President Trump on US media has himself confirmed with a high degree of certainty. He says that they have the man in custody. In fact, he also went on to say that there was a person who was very close to this assassination assassin who himself basically gave details to the authorities about whereabouts of this assassin, and following which he was brought under custody, and which Trump believes and the Trump administration's FBI believes that he is the person who is behind the assassination. Now, we are yet to ascertain the identity or understand the political or non-political motivations of this alleged killer behind killing of Charlie Kirk on the Utah campus, whether there were any political motivations or something else, or was there a larger conspiracy at play. These are questions that will be answered in coming days as the FBI now begins intense interrogation of him. What we know so far is that President Trump's administration is committed to for a speedy trial, and in fact President Trump himself has expressed intent to urge the jury to find him guilty of a death penalty in the Charlie Kirk case. We saw this yesterday that President Trump in fact even announced the Presidential Medal of Freedom for Charlie Kirk, which is the highest civilian honor in the United States, and Vice President J.D. Vance himself accompanied the coffin of Charlie Kirk. So it shows the proximity of Charlie Kirk to the US administration and the intent of the administration to pursue swift justice in this matter. But at the moment, what we know is that the would-be assassin is certainly in custody of the FBI, according to US President Donald Trump. Back to the studio.
Yes, Krutarth, of course, there have been a lot of reactions that have also come in on what really caused. We've seen Donald Trump blaming the radical left for this murder. There are many more such reactions that have come in, on social media. In India also is much talked about. But tell us what has been the narrative, so to speak, around this murder. What are the people from Republican Party and from the Democrats? What has really been the assessment of this entire incident?
Well, it has been largely a very polarizing issue in the United States of America in particular, where the Democrats and the Republicans have been caught onto the ideological lines vis-a-vis Charlie Kirk's personal views. We saw on social media, very shockingly, there's a vast section of US media and people in US who celebrated almost the killing of Charlie Kirk in a manner in which is untoward for any political violence that can be condoned in any parliamentary or any kind of democracy. We also saw bipartisan voices coming out from both the Republican side and the Democrat side condemning the political violence and the act of political violence. However, there was a bit of a commotion in the US Congress when there was a motion brought in to observe 1 minute of silence of prayer for Charlie Kirk. So there have been divisions in the US Congress, the US Parliament as well. We also saw similar apprehensions being at display in the EU Parliament, where a Polish lawmaker proposed a minute of silence for Charlie Kirk. So globally, the global right and left and the political violence that ensues as an outcome of these debates has been on top of the agenda. But at the moment, the priority was to get the legal side of the things out of the way, and the killer is now arrested.
Thank you very much for joining us, Rudrath, on the broadcast with those details coming in on that breaking development. We will now shift our focus to what's happened with this SpiceJet flight that was flying from Kandla to Mumbai airport. Now, SpiceJet yet again under scanner after that terrifying mid-air scare where a plane that was flying from Kandla to Mumbai with a missing landing gear wheel. Yes, you heard that right. Missing wheel. The airline has now been asked to submit an incident occurrence report to the DGCA by the end of this day. 75 lives have been put at stake, viewers. A full emergency was declared at the Mumbai airport. Yet, questions remain on how did this aircraft even take off at the first place? Who signed off on its airworthiness and his passengers' safety being compromised in rush to meet schedules? We put the spotlight on this near disaster and demand answers.
A packed passenger flight, 75 souls on board. Flying with a landing gear, missing a wheel. Chaos at Mumbai airport, panic inside the aircraft. Full emergency declared, even departure at Mumbai airport brought to a grinding halt. This was SpiceJet flight SG2906 Kandla to Mumbai that flew nearly 400 kilometers with a crippled landing gear. The wheel had fallen off during takeoff itself. The pilots were informed only 20 minutes before touchdown when ATC discovered the wheel lying on the Kandla runway. 71 passengers, 4 crew, unknowingly in a potential disaster waiting to happen. Fire tenders, ambulances, emergency crews all scrambled at Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport as a full-scale emergency was declared.
Around 3:45 p.m., the emergency was declared. 3:51 it has landed at Mumbai airport. Between 3:30 to 3:45 is the time when there was an emergency situation in the aircraft, when the pilot in command got to know that yes, there's no wheel, the wheels in the aircraft is missing, and the missing wheel has been found after information to the control command center. The missing wheel has been found at the runway of the Kandla airport. That means while the aircraft took off from the Kandla airport, at that particular time there was outer wheel in the aircraft, but soon after taking off, while it was airborne, there was no wheel in the aircraft. There was no outer wheel in the aircraft. However, SpiceJet has informed us that the outer wheel was missing. It has now been found at Kandla airport at around 3:45 p.m. Precisely, emergency was declared.
The aircraft finally landed on runway 27 at 3:51 p.m. A tense, high-stakes touchdown before safely taxiing to the terminal. The big question is, how does a maintenance-cleared aircraft take off with a landing gear wheel missing? Who is accountable for this near miss? This incident is a chilling reminder that India's aviation safety checks are under the scanner yet again. Will this be just another close call, or the wake-up call regulators cannot afford to ignore?
And Satyaprakash joins us live in the broadcast from Mumbai. Viewers, Satyaprakash हमें बताएं कि क्या कुछ जानकारी सामने आ रही है. 5 बजे तक कहा गया था कि फ्लाइट्स टेक ऑफ नहीं करेंगे. आप एयरपोर्ट पे हमें बताएं अभी क्या ताज़ा हालात हैं.
देखिए, मुंबई एयरपोर्ट से फ्लाइटें उड़ान भरना शुरू कर दिया है. 5 बजे के बाद उड़ानें भरना शुरू कर दिया है, लेकिन जब 3:51 पर मुंबई एयरपोर्ट पे हड़कंप मच गया था. जिस तरह से कांडला एयरपोर्ट से उड़ान भरा था स्पाइसजेट एयरक्राफ्ट, और जिस तरह से बिना पहिए के यहाँ पे लैंड कराना था, कहीं कहीं यहाँ पे हड़कंप मच गया था. मुंबई पुलिस की टीम, फायर ब्रिगेड की टीम और जितनी भी एजेंसियां थी, सभी लोगों को यहाँ पर एयरपोर्ट पे मौजूद थे और बड़ी सावधानी से जो एयरक्राफ्ट को लैंड कराया गया और कहीं के जो यात्री थे उनको सुरक्षित कहीं कहीं उतारा गया. सभी जो पैसेंजर थे अपने घर जा चुके हैं, लेकिन कहीं जांच के विषय कि कैसे ये वहां से उड़ान भरा, बिना पहिए की उड़ान भरा, और जिस तरह से यहाँ पे हड़कंप मच गया था. 3:51 पर मुंबई एयरपोर्ट हड़कंप मच गया था. सारी एजेंसियां, मुंबई पुलिस के साथ फायर ब्रिगेड की टीम मौजूद थी और ये देखा जा रहा था किस तरह से सावधानी से सभी यात्रियों को सुरक्षित उतारा जाए. तो कहीं कहीं अब जांच का विषय है कि इतनी बड़ी खामी कैसे हुई. फिलहाल जो पैसेंजर थे मुंबई एयरपोर्ट से जा चुके हैं और मुंबई एयरपोर्ट से सारी उड़ानें भरना शुरू कर दिया है. जी,
बहुत शुक्रिया जुड़ने के लिए. For that, with those details coming in from Mumbai. Viewers, we will continue to keep a close eye on developments. Now we shift our focus to Manipur, viewers, as it awaits to welcome the Prime Minister. For the first time since 2023, Prime Minister Modi will be in Imphal tomorrow, and he'll be starting his visit, in fact, from Churachandpur. That is a Kuki community bastion, remember, and we will be concluding his visit with a mega rally in the Meitei heartland, that is Imphal. The big question, of course, is the Prime Minister's visit being seen as a precursor to a permanent solution? Here's the full story.
Winds of change are blowing across Manipur. The state is decked up, the excitement is palpable. Roads draped with colorful flags. Routes beautified and spruced up for the big day. These are the scenes from Churachandpur and Imphal, where all eyes are now set on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's crucial visit. This visit comes just days after the restoration of key highway connectivity, which many now call the Highway of Peace. It also marks Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first visit since the ethnic clashes between the Kukis and the Meiteis shook the state.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit the state of Manipur tomorrow. The Prime Minister will be addressing 2 mega rallies in the state, one in Churachandpur and another in Imphal. Right now we are reporting from the streets of Churachandpur, and you can see how the entire district has been decked up. You can see colorful flags and also posters of the Prime Minister welcoming him to Churachandpur, and there has been a lot of excitement among the people too, because this is the first visit of the Prime Minister to the state of Manipur ever since the ethnic conflict broke out.
In Churachandpur, The Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for projects worth rupees 7,300 crore. From Imphal, he will inaugurate infrastructure projects worth at least 1,200 crore.
Right now, I'm in front of the Bangla Gate, where the second program is going to be held after Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned from Chusanpur in his visit to Manipur. So we can see the tight security arrangement here. I'll show you. Prime Minister will be visiting the Western Kangla Gate. Inside this Kangla